You might think all eggs are created equal. White shell, yolk inside, protein-packed breakfast gold. What if I told you that some eggs on supermarket shelves are older than your last New Year's resolution? Worse, mishandled, mislabeled, and marinated in negligence. Before you crack your next dozen, you might want to crack open this video, because today, we're going to talk about 6 major grocery store chains where buying eggs is more of a gamble than a guarantee. These aren't fringe places or sketchy corner markets. These are big-name brands, household names you'd probably trust more than your group chat. But trust doesn't refrigerate eggs properly. And branding doesn't stop bacteria from throwing a party inside your fridge. Believe me, number 3 will surprise you. We're not just talking slightly expired. We're talking eggs that have been stored at the wrong temperature, shipped without proper cooling, reshelved after being returned, or flat out relabeled to extend their shelf life. In some cases, cartons sit under warm lights for hours. In others, stock rotation is so neglected. Yesterday's eggs might have been laid during the Obama administration. We're diving deep into customer complaints, employee confessions, health, inspection records, and cold chain breakdowns. You'll hear about Walmart, where the low prices might extend to their hygiene standards. Dollar General, where eggs have allegedly sat out unrefrigerated like Halloween candy in July. Kroger, where organic and free range don't always mean what you think. Family Dollar, home of pest problems and sanitation citations. Target, where image is everything. Except when it comes to egg safety. And Aldi, because discount sometimes translates to don't eat that. These stores aren't just slipping, they're sliding straight past food safety standards. If you think an egg is just an egg, you're missing the point. It's not just about what's inside the shell. It's about how it got to your fridge. And when companies cut corners on something this basic, it says a lot about how they treat everything else on the shelf. This isn't a hit piece. It's a wake-up call. It's because food safety isn't optional, and if your eggs come with a side of E. coli, that's not breakfast. That's bioterrorism in a carton. So grab your coffee, skip the omelet, and let's get into it. Walmart, the retail empire, where you can buy bananas, brake fluid, a kayak, and a dozen eggs in one trip. It's convenient, it's cheap, and it's everywhere. But when it comes to eggs, that convenience might come with a side of bacteria, misinformation, and logistical laziness. Because behind the smiley face stickers and rollback prices lies a supply chain that sometimes rolls back basic food safety. But watch out, because it gets worse. Number 3 was not expected. Let's start with the cold, hard truth. Literally, Walmart has a recurring issue with inconsistent egg refrigeration. Customers across the country have posted photos and complaints online showing eggs left in unrefrigerated displays, sitting at room temperature on rolling carts, or even stacked under heating vents. One viral image showed egg cartons stored next to hot rotisserie chickens, because nothing says safe handling. It's like incubating your groceries next to pre-cooked poultry. And it's not just the customers noticing. Former employees from various Walmart locations have reported that management often prioritizes speed and shelf availability over safety. Night shift workers say that when trucks arrive late, eggs and other perishables are left on pallets for hours in ambient temperatures while staff rush to catch up. If the freezer space is full, eggs wait their turn on the loading dock, sometimes in triple-digit heat. Now let's talk about stock rotation. In a perfect world, older eggs are pulled from shelves before new ones go up. But at Walmart, with its endless aisles and endless pressure to restock, that doesn't always happen. Employees have admitted to tossing new inventory on top of old, ignoring expiration dates because we don't have time to sort. In some stores, returned XCS's eggs that customers bring back are inspected visually, and if they look okay, they're placed back on shelves. No scan, no temp check. Just does it look cracked? If not, congrats. You might have just bought someone else's breakfast, regrets. Then there's labeling. Walmart store brands like Great Value offer eggs labeled farm fresh, cage-free, and even organic. Sounds great until you realize these labels can be more fantasy than fact. Investigative reports have revealed that many suppliers stretch definitions to meet corporate demand. Cage-free might just mean birds are crammed into massive, dim barns with no outdoor access. Farm fresh can mean anything from laid last week to sat in a warehouse until someone remembered we sell eggs. One major supplier of Walmart-branded eggs was even caught in a hidden camera investigation showing hens in filthy conditions, injured birds left untreated, and workers tossing dead chickens into trash bins inches from production areas. Those cartons still made it to shelves with a cheerful grade printed on top. It gets worse. Health inspection records from multiple Walmart locations have shown repeated violations for improper storage temperatures, expired egg products left on shelves, and unclean refrigeration units. One Texas store was caught selling eggs 10 days past the sell-by date. Another in Ohio had cartons with visible mold near the seal. And in Florida, location failed to monitor cooler temps for 3 days right as a heat wave hit the area. Transportation isn't much better. Walmart operates a massive distribution network, but former logistics workers have pulled back the curtain. Eggs often sit in non-refrigerated trailers waiting for offload. One trucker confessed to hauling eggs across state lines while the trailer cooling system was broken. They told me to keep the doors shut and pray it doesn't get too warm, he said. In the summer, those trucks can hit interior temps that rival a sauna. Your eggs might be sweating before they ever make it to aisle 7, but wait, there's more. Ever bought a dozen eggs, got home and found one cracked, or slimy, or reeking of sulfur? You're not alone. Online reviews are filled with complaints of eggs that were rotten, broken, or flat out disgusting. Walmart's return policy? Technically, yes, you can return them. Depending on the location, those eggs might not be trashed. They might be restocked, especially if they're unopened and management's having a tight budget. All this adds up to one thing: a system that treats eggs not as delicate, perishable food, but as another SKU to manage. Massive scale means tiny errors turn into huge problems. A lapse in one location, a nuisance, a lapse across 4,000 stores. A potential health crisis, so what can you do? If you still buy eggs at Walmart, check the expiration date treely, check it. Pick up the carton, open it, look for cracks, discoloration, or dampness. Give it a sniff if you dare. And if the eggs are warm to the touch, walk away. No deal is worth a night of food poisoning. Yes, the prices are low, but when eggs are handled like paper towels, you might be cracking open more than just breakfast. You could be cracking into contamination. Dollar General where you can buy party balloons, off-brand soda, motor oil, and somehow eggs. It's the ultimate last-minute stop. Cheap, accessible, and spread across America like butter on burnt toast. But when it comes to eggs, things get dicey. Really dicey. Let's talk about refrigeration, or the shocking lack of it. Multiple customers have reported finding eggs stacked in aisles nowhere near coolers, nestled on end caps, or dumped near registers like impulse buys. In some locations, refrigeration isn't just insufficient time, it's non-existent. One viral TikTok showed a full crate of eggs displayed next to laundry detergent. The caption, "Guess I'm washing my stomach later." In smaller towns particularly. Rural areas, Dollar General is sometimes the only store in reach. That makes it even more concerning that health departments across the South and Midwest have flagged dozens of stores for temperature violations. One store in Alabama was cited for eggs being stored at 58 degrees Fahrenheit, far above the food safety threshold. Another in Georgia failed to remove a recalled batch of eggs 2 weeks after the recall. Yes, they knew. No, they didn't care, but it gets worse. Several customers have bought eggs at Dollar General only to find they were already expired, or in some cases, already rotting. One shopper opened a carton to find fuzz growing on a yolk. Another reported that their entire dozen had a pungent, sulfuric smell before they even cracked one open. The worst part: some eggs had expiration dates scratched out and replaced with a new sticker. Classy dot, and what about the people working there? Don't blame the employees, they're often set up to fail. Former Dollar General workers have come forward saying they received zero training on handling perishables. No gloves, no thermometers, no clue. "We were told to check for cracks, wipe the outside, and restock them," said one. Another admitted they didn't even know eggs had to be refrigerated. "That's not just a training gap, that's a full-blown educational canyon," returned eggs. Those were often evaluated by the sniff test. If they didn't smell like death, they were wiped down and tossed back on the shelf, one employee said. If the carton wasn't visibly leaking, it was fair game. Health departments might disagree. Let's talk infrastructure. Many older Dollar General stores were never built to handle fresh groceries, so when corporate decided to expand into perishables, they simply stuffed tiny coolers into corners and hoped for the best. The result? Overloaded units, constant breakdowns, and spoiled food. One store in Kentucky had a cooler breakdown in summer and It took 4 days to get a replacement. Eggs stayed on display the entire time, even when refrigeration technically exists. Enforcement is a joke. Corporate audits are infrequent, and when they do happen, stores are often tipped off in advance. So perishables get shuffled, thermometers appear out of nowhere, and coolers magically work that day. The next morning, back to lukewarm business as usual. You might think, well, they're just eggs. What's the big deal? But improperly stored eggs are breeding grounds for salmonella and other bacteria. A bad egg isn't just a breakfast disappointment, it's a ticket to food poisoning. And when a national chain consistently fails to protect basic safety for such a simple product, what does that say about the rest of their inventory? Dollar General excels at cheap prices and fast expansion. But when it comes to eggs, it's playing fast and loose with your health. If you value your stomach and your dignity, skip the eggs. Stick to the canned beans. Or maybe, just don't grocery shop where you buy motor oil. Kroger, America's favorite upscale but still affordable. It's a grocery chain. It's where middle-class ambition meets organic aspiration. It's a store that says, yes, I want free-range eggs. And also that 2-for-1 frozen pizza deal. But while Kroger markets itself as a cleaner, greener shopping alternative, its eggs come with more fine print than an insurance policy and a few unpleasant surprises. Let's start with the marketing magic. Labeling. Walk into any Kroger and you'll find a rainbow of egg cartons. Simple truth, private selection, cage-free, organic, pasture-raised. Omega-3 enhanced, brown, white, jumbo, jumbo light. And probably something like eggs with emotional intelligence. But here's the catch. Many of these terms sound it's better than they actually are. Cage-free doesn't mean hens are frolicking in meadows. In many cases, they're packed into massive barns with no outdoor access, no natural light, and enough stress to start their own therapy group. Pasture-raised sounds idyllic, but the USDA has no strict regulation for what that really entails. And organic. It means the feed was organic and antibiotics were limited, but it doesn't guarantee humane conditions or freshness. Kroger's Simple Truth line has come under scrutiny for these very reasons. Some suppliers have been linked to industrial-scale farms operating just above the legal minimum for organic certification. Translation: clean enough to pass, not clean enough to brag. But let's talk food safety because that's where things get really uncomfortable. Kroger has previously sourced eggs from suppliers tied to salmonella outbreaks. While they weren't the only retailer involved, their response wasn't always fast. In one high-profile case, stores in Ohio and Kentucky continued to sell recalled eggs days after public notices were released. Customers who asked about it were told, those eggs were checked. They're fine. Spoiler alert, they weren't. Temperature control? Spotty at best. Multiple customers have posted about warm egg cartons, condensation inside packaging, and even cracked eggs left on shelves. One user on Reddit uploaded a photo of a Kroger egg display with a broken cooler unit. We're visibly sweating. The store? Still selling them? Employees have spoken up too. One former dairy clerk shared that egg rotation was often rushed or ignored entirely. You're supposed to pull old stock, but during busy shifts, you just restock on top of whatever's there, they said. The result? Your fresh dozen. Might have been laid before last month's rent was due. Returned eggs? Sometimes they're trashed. Sometimes they single quotes not. Another employee admitted that slightly damaged cartons were inspected and put back out. If the shells aren't broken and they're not leaking, they go back. We just try to find a clean carton to hide the bad ones. Then there's the inconsistency. Kroger operates under different banners depending on the region. Ralph's Fries, King Soopers, Harris Teeter, and more. That means food safety and stocking procedures can vary wildly by store and state. What's safe in Michigan might be sketchy in Texas, and what's ethical in California might be ignored entirely in Ohio. So while Kroger's branding screams health, ethics, and elevated grocery experience, the eggs often tell a different story. Story of vague labels, minimal oversight, and a supply chain that doesn't always prioritize your safety or your conscience. Bottom line, you might be paying premium prices for cartons that aren't any better than the ones at a corner bodega. If you're going to spend extra for ethical eggs, you deserve more than just a pretty label. You deserve transparency, integrity, and a breakfast that won't make you second-guess your life choices. Family Dollar, the chain that makes Walmart look like Whole Foods. It's the store where you can buy off-brand shampoo, a box of expired cereal, and a carton of questionable eggs all under one flickering fluorescent light. But when it comes to food safety, especially with perishables like eggs, Family Dollar isn't just cutting corners, it's bulldozing the whole circle. Let's start with the horror story that made national headlines. In 2022, over 400 Family Dollar stores were forced to temporarily shut down after an FDA inspection revealed their Arkansas's distribution center was, quite literally, infested. Inspectors found live rodents, dead rodents, rodent feces, urine, nests, and even decaying carcasses. Over 1,100 dead rodents were discovered in various stages of decomposition. This warehouse supplied food, cosmetics, medications, and yes, X2 stores across 6 states. Let that sink in. Eggs that were possibly stored near rodent feces were shipped out, stocked on shelves, and sold to unsuspecting customers. The FDA called the facility unsanitary and unfit for the storage of any food product. A recall was issued. But not all locations acted quickly. Some stores reportedly continued to sell the contaminated stock, because as one ex-employee put it, "We didn't even get the memo until after half the stuff was sold." And that was just one scandal. Outside of this headline-grabbing rodent saga, Family Dollar's issues with eggs are shockingly routine. Health departments across multiple states have cited locations for storing eggs above safe temperatures, leaving cartons in unrefrigerated displays and failing to discard expired or broken stock. One store in Mississippi was caught keeping expired eggs for over a week past their sell-by date. Another in Missouri had no working thermometer in the fridge unit. Customers have taken to social media, with disturbing images, eggs covered in slime, cartons soaked in mysterious liquids, and even one post showing a carton where every single egg was cracked and leaking. The caption, "Family Dollar Brunch, Salmonella Surprise." Staffing doesn't help. Many Family Dollar stores operate with minimal employees, sometimes just 1 or 2 per shift. Training is minimal. According to former workers, most employees receive little to no instruction on food safety. One admitted they were told, "If it smells okay, it's probably fine." Another said their manager encouraged them to wipe down dirty cartons and reshelve them, especially if stock was running low. Returned eggs. Yep, they go back out. No thermometer, no inspection. It's a quick check for cracks and a hopeful attitude. It's not just unsafe, that's reckless. Let's talk refrigeration. Many stores operate with outdated coolers that fluctuate in temperature. Some units don't seal properly, others leak. In one Florida location, eggs were stored in a cooler that also housed cleaning chemicals. A health inspector's notes said it best, "Cross-contamination risk is extreme." Even store cleanliness is questionable. Dusty shelves, dirty floors, pest sightings, these aren't rare exceptions. They're part of the daily reality in many locations. If the store can't keep the floors clean, what do you think is happening? Behind the scenes in their fridges, and let's be honest, Family Dollar isn't known for transparency. There are few press releases, fewer apologies, and almost no accountability when things go wrong. It's a system built on volume, low margins, and rapid turnover, with food safety treated as a luxury, not a requirement. So should you trust eggs from Family Dollar? That depends. Do you also trust fortune cookies to make your medical decisions? Bottom line, cheap is great until you're paying for it later with a bottle of Pepto and an afternoon spent regretting everything. When it comes to eggs, you're better off going literally anywhere else. Target, the sleek, Instagrammable oasis of the grocery world. You walk in for toothpaste and leave with a cart full of throw pillows. $7 candles, seasonal socks, and eggs. Everything is aesthetic. The lighting is perfect, the shelves are pristine. Here's the thing, clean design doesn't equal clean food. When it comes to eggs, Target's pretty face hides some ugly truths. Let's talk about stock rotation or the lack thereof. Multiple shoppers have reported buying eggs at Target only to get home and discover they were already expired or about to expire in a day. One customer even posted a photo of a fresh carton with a sell-by date from the previous week. Another found 2 cracked eggs hidden in a 12-pack that had clearly been wiped down and reshelved. How does this happen? Former employees say that during restocks, perishables like eggs often get rushed or skipped entirely, one ex-worker explained. It's chaos during rushes. If it looks fine from the outside, it goes out. You don't have time to inspect every carton. That's great for speed, Not so great for salmonella, returned eggs. Many locations simply check for cracks, then put them back out. Some team members were instructed to use clean-looking cartons to repackage, returned eggs. So that carton you bought might be a remix of 3 different returns, because who needs traceability when you have minimalistic branding? Let's address the labels. Target's in-house brands like Good and Gather and Market Pantry use feel-good terms like cage-free, organic, and farm-fresh. Sounds great until you trace the supply chain. Independent investigations have found that some of these eggs come from industrial-scale farms with animal welfare records that are, let's say, less than ideal. Cage-free often means thousands of hens stuffed into massive barns with no outdoor access. Organic might meet USDA criteria, but that doesn't guarantee ethical treatment or proper oversight. It just means they filled out the paperwork. Now let's talk refrigeration. Target is usually spotless in the home decor section, but the cold aisles, a little less polished. Customers from several urban and suburban stores have posted photos and videos of egg displays with standing water, dripping condensation, and clearly broken refrigeration units. One viral TikTok showed eggs being sold from a cooler that had fogged up so badly the glass was dripping. A shopper picked up a carton and commented, "These feel pre-boiled." Some locations, refrigeration units fluctuate throughout the day. Maintenance isn't always immediate, and during busy seasons, perishables are prioritized by popularity, not perishability. So while someone's checking to make sure your oat milk is stocked, no one's checking if your eggs are about to hatch bacteria. And here's the kicker. Target's aesthetic lulls you into a false sense of security. You feel like you're shopping smarter, cleaner, more ethically, but it's just branding. The actual food safety standards often no better than the discount stores it tries to distance itself from. Eggs may not be the biggest ticket item in your cart, but they're among the riskiest if handled poorly. And when a store prioritizes visuals over vigilance, it's the customer who ends up paying the price with their health. So next time you're wandering through Target's perfectly curated aisles, maybe think twice before tossing that dozen eggs into your red cart. Check the dates, inspect the carton, give it a shake. Or, better yet, skip them entirely, because aesthetic doesn't mean sanitary. Minimalism doesn't kill bacteria. Aldi, the minimalist's paradise, where you bag your own groceries, return your cart for a quarter, and marvel at how low the total is. Known for being efficient, cost-effective, and proudly offbeat, Aldi has built a cult following of budget-conscious shoppers. But when it comes to eggs, that frugality might come with a side of microbial mystery. Let's start with the obvious: staffing. Aldi stores run on skeleton crews. It's part of their business model: fewer employees, faster service, lower costs. Great for margins, not always great for food safety. Perishable items like eggs require monitoring, rotation, and temperature checks. But with one employee running the register and another stocking for aisles at once, it's easy for cartons to be neglected. Temperature control is one of the biggest complaints. Customers from various regions have reported picking up eggs that felt warm to the touch. Others noted condensation inside the packaging, a telltale sign that the eggs have been in fluctuating temperatures. One Reddit user summed it up perfectly. These eggs felt like they'd just finished tanning. It's not ideal for something that should be stored consistently under 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Rotating stock? A gamble. Aldi prides itself on high turnover, which usually prevents items from expiring on the shelf. But when cartons are restocked hastily, sometimes on top of older stock expiration dates get missed. In some stores, returned eggs have been placed back out with no inspection at all, one former employee admitted. If it wasn't cracked, we didn't ask questions. Went back on the shelf. Even worse, Aldi doesn't always remove visibly damaged goods. Multiple social media posts show egg cartons with broken shells, dried residue, or egg whites leaking through the packaging. One viral tweet showed a customer pulling out a half-dried, sulfur-smelling egg from a carton labeled Fresh Grade A. The caption, "Grade A biohazard." Let's talk about mold. Yes, mold. Several shoppers have documented finding black spots on their eggshells or fuzz growing around the base. While rare, these reports have appeared often enough to raise concerns. One customer in Pennsylvania shared images of eggs with greenish fuzz, which they described as Easter eggs from a zombie apocalypse. They weren't joking. And while Aldi promotes cage-free and organic options under private labels, transparency about sourcing is minimal. Their egg packaging includes broad claims like responsibly sourced or from trusted farms. When reporters have tried to trace suppliers, the trail often ends at vague corporate responses. One investigation found that some Aldi organic eggs were linked to large-scale industrial farms where cage-free was a technicality, not a practice. Then there's refrigeration reliability. In smaller or older Aldi locations, coolers have been cited for inconsistent performance. A customer in Georgia reported that the egg cooler was warm and visibly dripping. When they informed an employee, the response was, "It always does that." When it's humid, not exactly confidence-inspiring, the aesthetic of all the simple, clean, streamlined can be misleading. Just because the store doesn't play music or push loyalty cards doesn't mean the food is automatically safe. Sometimes, the focus on speed and efficiency means corners get cut, especially in areas that customers aren't inspecting closely. Eggs are cheap at Aldi, but food poisoning isn't. If you're going to shop there, check your carton. Open it. Look for cracks. Smell it if you have to. That awkward moment in aisle 3 is better than 12 hours of stomach regret, because saving $1 isn't worth gambling on a carton of eggs that might hatch a new ecosystem in your fridge. So, there you have it. 6 grocery stores where buying eggs might just scramble more than your breakfast. From Walmart's heat lamp logistics to Family Dollar's rodent-infused distribution center, we've cracked open a carton full of disturbing truths. And while each store has its own unique flavor of negligence, the common thread is clear: cutting corners on a product as simple and sensitive as eggs shows a dangerous disregard for basic food safety. Warm cartons, expired labels, restocked returns, fuzzy shells. These aren't just gross, they're risky. Eggs aren't just another grocery item. They're delicate, perishable, and potentially hazardous when mishandled. But the way these stores treat them, like just another barcode to scan, stock, and forget. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Because the more you know, the less likely you are to bring home a biological time bomb in a pastel-colored carton. So next time you're walking down the dairy aisle, slow down, inspect, ask questions, choose carefully, and maybe, just maybe, skip the discount dozen. If this video gave you something to think about, give it a like, subscribe for more uncomfortable truths, and share it with someone who still thinks farm fresh means anything real. Thanks for watching, and keep your fridge safe.